On the day of my Alpha wedding dress fitting, my sister said she wanted to come with me and help me judge the look. The first thing I saw when I stepped out of the fitting room was her standing in front of my fiancé, rising onto her toes to straighten his tie and smooth down his lampels. Her movements were practiced, her expression natural, as if she were the real bride. I had just been about to say, "I'll do it," when the etiquette counselor was already walking toward her with a bright smile.
Future bride, this way please. Let's go over the details of the ceremonial shawl and veil.
Lillian and Lucien exchanged a look, both wearing the faintest hint of a smile on their lips. The next second, Ethan, who was in charge of the loosely of the wedding pre-shoot, brushed past me with his camera raised and went straight after them. The shutter clicked again and again. I stood where I was, watching them through the lens. Standing together, the two of them looked exactly like one of those elite werewolf couples on the cover of an upper-class society magazine, and I, the real bride, the true fade mate recognized by the council, looked like an outsider who had wandered in by mistake. Later, when I got the pre-shoot proofs, I discovered that out of 99 photos, almost all of them were of Lucien and Lillian. There were shots of him holding up her skirt hem for her, shots of her tilting her head up to fix his collar, shots of the two of them standing in front of the floor-length mirror, smiling at each other. Not a single one was a proper front-facing shot of me, the bride-to-be. I froze where I stood. When we were kids back in town, Ethan, Lillian, and I used to play house together. Ethan and Lillian always fought to play the bride and groom, while I was the one responsible for scattering petals from the flower basket at their feet. Now that we were grown up, it seemed nothing had really changed. Only the groom had changed to Lucien. The setting had shifted from the little backyard in town to a luxurious bridal salon in the city center. And I was still the one standing off to the side.
Ella, can you hand me that bouquet of white roses? The stylist said it'll make the shots feel better.
I hadn't even moved when Lucien had already walked over to me and gently taken the bouquet from my hand. His tone was even gentle, if anything.
Ella, why are you spacing out? Go take a look at the invitation paper samples first. When we're done shooting here, I'll come help you choose.
I looked up at him. His expression was calm, as if he were handling the most natural little matter. As if he didn't see that I was standing there in a bridal gown, without even room to cut into the conversation. Ethan crouched halfway down to adjust the focus and suddenly showed half his face from behind the camera.
Ella, move 2 steps to the side. You're blocking the key light.
Silently, I stepped back until my spine touched the corner of the wall. In that instant, I suddenly understood exactly what my place was in this wedding. Not the lead, not the bride. I was just someone who needed to cooperate with everyone and not cause trouble. Since this wedding didn't seem to need me at all, then maybe if I didn't show up, no one would care either. I picked up the handbag resting on the shoe bench, turned around, and pushed open the door. The brass bell hanging at the entrance gave a light chime. Clear. Brief. No one called after me. I turned back for one last look. Lillian was standing in front of the mirror, spinning in a circle, while Lucien stood behind her with his head lowered, adjusting the bow decoration at the back of her waist.
Yes, that's the angle. Don't move. Great.
The shutter went off several times in a row. I withdrew my gaze and walked out of the shop. When I got into the car, my phone lit up. It was a message from the wedding planner. Mrs. Winston, the wedding date is coming soon. May we finalize the invitation design today? I was just about to reply when another message followed. Or Miss Lillian can decide for you as well. Her taste is very suitable for a bride's ceremony. The car was very quiet. So quiet I could hear the sound of my own breathing. In, out, as if it were counting something for me. Counting how many times I had been forgotten in this relationship. How many times have I been passed over? How many times, in arrangements everyone else had silently accepted, I had automatically lost the right to speak? I stared at the screen for a long time. In the end, I only replied with 3 words. Listen to her. I meant it. Really listen to her, because in the end, Lucien would listen to her too. The other side replied quickly, okay, received. Looking at those 4 words, I suddenly felt that on the end had probably sighed in relief too. After all, not having to repeatedly confirm details with a bride who was always hesitant, always yielding, always unable to state exactly what she wanted, really did make things much easier. Very soon, the pack ceremony planning chat started filling with notifications again. Ethan uploaded the pre-shoot photos one by one. I opened the full-size images. His composition and lighting was still excellent as ever. The golden light fell on Lucian and Lillian's faces, making them look like a luxury wedding advertisement. I let out a bitter smile. When I was little, watching other people play bride, I would always secretly envy them. Later, when Lucian pursued me, I had once naively thought that, at least this time, I would finally be able to stand openly in everyone's sight and be the one and only heroine. That was why I took this wedding so seriously, and why was I so careful. As if I were desperately trying to prove to everyone that I was worthy of standing beside an alpha, worthy of becoming the future bride, worthy of having a life where I was firmly chosen. But in the end, I was still squeezed out of the frame. I had brought Lillian with me this time because she was the person closest to me. I thought that in such an important setting as trying off a wedding dress, nothing could possibly go wrong anymore. After all, in a scene like this, the camera should only have one hero and one heroine in it, and I was supposed to be that heroine, but the result was still the same. My phone lit up and went dark, then dark again and lit up once more. Messages in the group chat kept coming in. I didn't reply again, and no one noticed. I drove back to my own apartment. There was a sticky note on the refrigerator door, one I had written last week. Bride ceremony countdown 7 days. I stood there looking at it for a few seconds, then reached out and tore it down. I crumpled the paper into my palm, then gently threw it into the trash can. It wasn't until noon the next day that I really turned on my phone. There were already 99+ messages piled up in the wedding planning group chat. I scrolled down for a long time before I saw the only voice message Lillian had specifically mentioned me in. I hesitated for a moment, then tapped it open. Sis, I changed the ceremony background music you originally picked. The one you chose was too old and too dull. A bride's ceremony should of course be livelier and have more atmosphere. Under the voice message, Lucian followed with a short line of text.
The original one wasn't suitable.
I stared at that line without moving. That song was one I had spent an entire month choosing before finally settling on it. Every time I heard the intro, my nose would sting. It was the first dance song from my biological parents' wedding. They died too early. I had only wanted, in this way, to let them accompany me once at my wedding. Lucian knew, Lillian knew too. But they still thought that song was not suitable. In the group chat, Lillian was still speaking lightly.
Ella doesn't really understand these things in the first place. Her taste is more conservative, so it's better if we just decide for her.
Lucian replied with one more word. I looked at that and didn't move for a long time. The messages were still constantly scrolling upward, discussing flowers, seating cards, vow order, ceremony arch, dinner wine list. Every single detail had to do with my wedding, but not one of them was decided by me. No one noticed that I was in the group chat, and no one noticed that I hadn't said a single word. At that moment, I suddenly realized that my level of participation in this wedding was practically zero. No, not practically, completely zero. I opened my private chat with Lucian. The chat history was still stuck on yesterday. I had said, "I'm a little nervous." He replied with a reassuring emoji, and then blankness. As for why I left early, he hadn't privately asked me even once. Last night, he had only casually mentioned me in the group chat.
What's wrong? So nervous you ran off first?
There was no follow-up, and no concern. Lillian posted of herself smiling and lifting her skirt with the caption, "Today's dress fitting went smoothly, and the wedding gown and bride's shawl all finalized." And so the matter was lightly glossed over just like that. As if the person who had left was not the bride, but only some insignificant staff members. They continued talking about flowers, lighting, invitations, banquet backdrop panels. I suddenly felt that I wasn't just unnecessary. At least being unnecessary would mean there had originally been a place for me. And I was more like someone who had never truly been included from the very beginning. While I was packing my things, Lillian suddenly sent a video call request. After I answered, I saw her sitting in front of a vanity mirror with several stylists surrounding her, trying makeup, curling her hair, and matching jewelry for her. She smiled sweetly at the camera.
Sis, you're way too slow. Your makeup and styling team still hasn't been finalized, so I went ahead and tried to look for you first. I'll send you the photos later.
and you can just pick whichever one suits you best. I held my phone and quietly looked at her. A lot of words rushed up to my throat, but I couldn't say a single one. For example, 2 weeks ago, I had already said that my best friend from college would personally come do my bridal makeup. For example, when you all were making these decisions, did any one of you ask me first whether I was willing? But in the end, I said nothing. Because I knew very clearly in my heart, it wasn't that I had never tried to fight me for myself. But every single time, all I ever got in return was one sentence.
She's your sister. Give it to her a little.
It had always been like this since childhood, and it was still like this after growing up. Ethan was clearly my childhood best friend, but his camera, his attention, and his stance all seemed to favor Lillian more. Later, when Lucien pursued me, he said I was quiet, slow, and adorably clumsy. I thought that was exactly the kind of me he liked. But ever since Lillian officially entered our lives, he began saying more and more often, girls should be a little livelier, a little smarter, a little more opinionated to be lovable. Until that day, I finally couldn't help asking him, can you stop always being so close to Lillian? I had always doted on her. Lucien should have known that the fact I could even say those words already meant I had endured it for a long time. But he still didn't take it seriously. He just smiled and ruffled my hair.
She's your sister. Do you want me to become enemies with her?
I fell silent. Of course I didn't want that. But no one had ever asked whether I would be hurt too. All these years, the words, "you're the older sister," had been like an invisible lock, pressing down on me, as if I was born to be sensible, born to give way, born to be the one who cleaned up the mess. But I'm only 2 years older than her. I also wanted someone to ask me, Ella, do you like it? Ella, are you happy? Ella, are you tired? I suddenly remembered that every time we finished playing house as kids, they always left first. I would gather up all the flower petals scattered across the ground by myself and put them back into the basket. No one ever helped me, and no one ever asked if I was tired. That afternoon, I called my landlord first and said I would be moving out early today. There was a pause on the other end of the line.
You're really moving out? You've lived there for 4 years.
When I had just gotten together with Lucien, he had suggested that I move directly into his penthouse. But Lillian said that living together before marriage wasn't formal enough, and also wasn't good for the traditions before the bride ceremony. And I myself also wanted to preserve a bit of boundary and dignity for this relationship. So I rented this apartment near Blackwood Group headquarters. I thought if I lived a little closer to him, we would have more chances to see each other. Over the years, this place had held our dinners, held our arguments, held our silences, and also held his countless hurried departing figures. Yes, I'm moving out today. The landlord sighed and told me to just leave the key in the mailbox in the lobby. I had just hung up when the apartment door was pushed open from the outside. Lucien and Lillian walked in one after the other. Lillian turned back and smiled at Lucien. It's a deal, okay? After my sister moves to a house, the bay window study that was originally left for the bride has to go to me. It's just that I want to change the curtains to light pink. It feels more like home that way. I stood in the middle of the living room, and for a moment I thought I had heard wrong.